Take all the action of a close combat anime fight scene and apply it to a video game stylized like a flash animated show. That's Fly Punch Boom, an elaborate rock paper scissors gameplay loop with all the flash and glam of an over-the-top fighting sequence. There's plenty of games that have tackled the anime fighting sequence before. You don't have to look too far into Namco Bandai's library of games to find one. What Fly Punch Boom does differently is taking that approach, applying a rock paper scissors like gameplay loop to it, and it makes it a party game instead of a fighting game. That's also the surprise underlying this title. It's not really a fighting game at all, but a party game. There's a handful of characters to choose from, each looking differently, but outside of their ultimate move, all play about the same. Upon selecting your character, you're thrown into a ring where you can dash around and attack your enemy. There's a total of 3 moves to choose from: attack, counter, and throw. The way the meta works is that the attack beats throw beats counter, and counter beats attack. It sounds easy on paper, but at the moment-to-moment action, it's easy to get lost in that sequence. When dashing against an enemy, prompts come up to attack each other, but the tiebreaker between these mashups is the rock paper scissors meta. These battles play out almost like a quick time event with a meter that determines if the counter move is a miss, hit, or a strong hit. As with just about every other gameplay element, it's easy in theory but chaotic in practice. The way matches are won is by getting your opponent's health to 0, or to more commonly, just knock them out with one of the hazard objects around you. While fighting, you can knock enemies into other objects like monsters or buildings. If your opponent misses their chance to counter, they can easily cost themselves the match. Even though the gameplay doesn't change much between matches, seeing all the different hazard objects for each of the maps was a fun experience. Especially during the early playthroughs. I had no idea what to expect out of these cinematic sequences, but they did always get me to crack a laugh when they happened. That's the core content here, with the extra game modes being a variation of offline and online play. The online play puts together a 1v1 match with another player online. However, if you opt for the offline mode like the local versus, you can play a total of up to 4 players with 1v1 or 2v2. The arcade mode also provides a fun way to practice sparring if you're in lack of some human opponents. As for the replay value, outside of just playing with friends online and offline, there's a few unlockables to work towards. New characters and alternate cosplays, according to the menu at least, can all be unlocked by duking it out in the ring. Like I mentioned earlier, just about most of the characters play alike, so it's mostly cosmetics you're unlocking here, but it's something for the completionists that picked this game up. Ultimately, I feel like the gameplay loop was fun if I had friends around. The fast-paced nature of the combat always brought out my competitive side, but that joy and thrill didn't hit as hard with CPU opponents. While you can still play alone, this is most definitely made to be played with friends. I think it's easy to look at Fly Punch Boom and think the visuals are simple. However, I found its almost meme-ish look to be charming. It's as if the old Newgrounds Flash animation was brought out of the early 2000s and into a 2020 video game. Indeed, it's not a super detailed look, but the fluidness of the animation looks great for what the style is going for. The hand-drawn looks of the particle blasts and flashes look great. Playing on Nintendo Switch, the 1v1 online multiplayer felt right at home on a portable device. The Switch's display is just big enough to fully display the action going on screen without getting lost in all the dashing and fighting. Composed by Yorgus, Fly Punch Boom's soundtrack is filled with guitar-heavy tracks that sound ripped out of an anime opening. Think back to the days of hearing Asian Kung Fu Generation during Naruto or Erased. Considering this game is mimicking the fighting sequences of anime, I think it's justified and fitting. There's about 8 songs total, each feeling very over-the-top rock, but still very catchy. Its opening theme song was certainly my favorite. Fly Punch Boom is a funny and entertaining take on a party game that's more humorous for how self-aware it is. Its visuals are over-the-top cartoonish, with music that sounds like it belongs in an anime opening. The combat is more of a rock paper scissors game than an actual fighting game, but in the mess of playing with friends online or around the couch, it can bring a lot of laughs. There isn't a ton of depth outside of that gameplay loop, but for something that's on sale for about $12 at launch, it might be worth checking out if you need a new thing to play during a quarantine weekend with some friends.